Welcome to the Transparent FX Academy. In this video, I'll speak about USDCAD. And as usual, to keep the video as educational as possible, first I'll cover the technical aspect for this market, then we will be moving to the order flow by looking at the commitment of traders, so the COT data, which is essentially what the big players in the market are doing and how they're moving and shifting their orders, which is what you see right here. By the end of the video, by using a combination of these two different types of analysis, we will try to understand where we have the highest probabilities for the next potential move here for this pair. So this is definitely a video you do not want to miss. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Starting here from the monthly time frame, what we can see is that we have a market which at the moment is testing a quite strong historical monthly supply and resistance zone. From here, in multiple occasions, the market has been rejected to the downside, and right now the market seems to be facing again the same resistance. So there is a good probability from here to see at least short-term bearish price action for the market to react to the area as already it reacted to the zone in the past. Usually such areas of resistance create, even if the market is bullish, short-term bearish price action. Dropping down on the weekly time frame, what we can see is that clearly the trend here from a weekly standpoint has inverted from a bearish market to now a bullish market. We went from the creation of weekly lower lows and lower highs, so clearly a bearish market, to then having this triple bottom created exactly this zone, and now the market has inverted to the creation of higher highs and potentially higher lows. Now, if we have to identify this structure here, it is very easy to identify this area here as being the most important zone. This level was the previous area of weekly support and demand from which this push to the upside was created. The market then broke that level to the downside, and that previous support became resistance here all across the zone. Now the market has created a break back above the zone. So this previous resistance is now again support, and it has been acting as support here, again here, and again here. So the market is clearly respecting this area as previous weekly resistance turns support. There is a good probability of seeing bullish price action being created away from this weekly demand and support zone. So here in the weekly, everything is quite bullish. Let's drop down on the daily time frame. Now, from a daily perspective, before we dig deeper into the technicals, we have to identify this area here as the previous supply and resistance. From here, all these previous rejections to the downside were created. So let's see what institutions are doing as the market is testing this resistance zone. Well, if we go and see what is going on when it comes to the commitment of traders, so what the big players in the market are doing, and we look at the data for the CAD, the first thing that we have to keep in mind is that if we are looking at the data for the CAD, we're actually already looking at CAD USD, because all currencies on the spot are traded against the USD. But we want informations on USDCAD, so we simply have to reverse everything. And what we can see here is that net positions with the last report have been increased. We went from minus 108.9K to minus 107.1K. So essentially institutions have started moving back to the bullish side for the CAD, so back to the bullish side to the bearish side for USDCAD, because if institutions are longing the CAD, they are shorting USDCAD. And that is exactly what they're doing. They added 2,200 longs. So essentially they have increased their longs from 16K all the way up to 20.9K. 16K was one of the lowest levels that we had in the past. We're now moving back above that low level in long positions and starting to get increased once more. Now, institutions longing the CAD, so shorting USDCAD, could create some short-term selling pressure, so bearish pressure at this supply and resistance zone, in which there is good probability to see even more shorting. And if we look closely, we can also notice how the market has just created this W formation here on the daily time frame. And when the market creates a W, there is a good probability of seeing a potential reversal lower. In this case, the correction in the case of a W formation, in this case overextended W, because the market has already gone above the previous high, The correction area, so the target zone in the case of an overextended W formation, is usually a correction to the 0.382 of the Fibonacci taken on the impulse leg, which in this case is at this level, which means that there is some room for some bearish price action away from this resistance zone, fueled by some more institutional shorting here of USD-CAD, so longing of the CAD. So in a situation like this, what would I expect? And by the way, if you still haven't, make sure that you join my free Telegram channel, which you find linked in description, so you never miss new updates. And by the way, I also spoke about USD-CAD just a few days ago when the market was around this area, and I explained all the reasons for which, as the market was breaking above the resistance zone, I was expecting this rejection to the upside. And you find that previous analysis again linked in description for more free education. But at the moment, what do we have? Well, as usual, and as my students know very well, trading is reactive and not predictive. The monthly, weekly, and daily time frames combined with the COT data, those are the best time frames when it comes to the directional aspect of the market. However, when it comes to identifying early shifts in the trend of a market, the best time frames for that are the intraday time frames, so 4 hour and lower. Therefore, what I would expect is that if this market would shift from an intraday bullish to bearish market, I wouldn't be surprised to see a rejection to the downside for the market to retrace at least to the 0.32 of the Fibonacci taken on the impulse leg. That definitely wouldn't surprise me. Now, all this free education and analysis that you see me share here on YouTube is actually just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, if you want to learn more, I really suggest that you go over to the Transparent FX Trading website, which you find linked in the description. And here you will have the possibility to gain access to all my courses, which range from the very basics of trading to the more advanced topics like building automated trading systems, building a portfolio of strategies, uncorrelated strategies, and much, much more using quantitative finance tools like the Quant Analyzer. So it's really something that you cannot afford to miss. You also have the possibility to gain access to my trading station software with the Telegram notifications integrations, one-on-one mentoring directly with me for any questions you have along the way, the COT data software, which you often see me use here on my YouTube videos. The program is also an all-in-one program, so you gain access to everything immediately, including all my strategies and EAs, and you also gain access to my entertaining trading show in which I share all my trades as they're happening. Here, you will see the presentation of each and every one of my strategies with the full historical backtest and presentations of the rules of the strategy. You also, as we were speaking about, have access to the live trading show. So essentially, every trade that is taken on my live account is automatically shown here in a very entertaining fashion as they're happening. So opened, closed, managed, so you can learn even more. And as you scroll down, you will see that you have the possibility to join and gain automatically access with email and password that you will create during the registration process. So again, I really suggest you go and check it out. The link is in the description, and I will see you on your student dashboard. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you leave a like. Also, let me know in the comments below any new pairs that you would like me to cover in my next videos. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss new updates, and I will see you in my next video.